On this occasion, we will share a story about a person known to people named Lilith. We believe most of us must have heard the story of God creating humans. On the sixth day after God created the universe and its contents, then created the first human in the world named Adam. According to his form he lived in the Garden of Eden, so that Adam would not feel lonely. God created a woman named Eve from Adam's rib, while he was fast asleep. Since then Adam and Eve have become the world's first male and female couple and human ancestors. But some ancient Jewish myths record a different story about the creation of man by God. Before Eve, there was another woman by Adam's side. In some other legends, this version of the mother of hundreds of demons is referred to as the first woman in history who refused to be treated unequally by Adam in sexual relations. This is recorded in various collections of legends in the 9th century entitled the Ben Sira alphabet 700 BC to 1010 AD. The legend refers to the early story about Adam's wife being created equal, both from the ground and not from Adam's rib like Eve. After leaving the Garden of Eden, Lilith slowly became a demon. God sent 3 angels to try to persuade Lilith to return to the Garden of Eden. The 3 angels found Lilith in the Red Sea and asked her to return with them. If he refused, he would be drowned in the Red Sea. Lilith refuses to return to the Garden of Eden and threatens to kill all human children. Of course, the angel sent by God will not give up so easily. At the end of the story, Lilith accepts the angel's condition to get the freedom not to return to the Garden of Eden. Every day 100 children will die. In Mesopotamian legend, Lilith is a night demon who has long hair and wings and often appears at night. He will transform into a beautiful woman who seduces humans, especially men, and gives birth to demonic offspring. Sometimes he would kill or steal a baby who newborn. In the Middle Ages, many pregnant women used the names of 3 angels who hunted Lilith, made amulets, and placed them on their bodies or tied red ribbons to their cribs, warning Lilith to stay away from her family. According to legend, Lilith is the incarnation of evil. There is even a legend that Lilith is a snake in the Garden of Eden. It was she who tempted Eve to eat the forbidden fruit, which caused Adam and Eve to be expelled from the garden. This is his revenge against Adam because he was jealous of their happy life in the Garden of Eden. Now the figure of Lilith also appears in many literary works, films, and games in various forms. She is depicted as a demon mother, a devil's mistress, and the incarnation of a vampire. And Zaki Obzert Succubus is a satanic figure in the form of a beautiful woman who seduces men through dreams to have sex. What is interesting is that the emergence of a new interpretation of Citra Lilith is a feminist movement in the late 20th century. Lilith opposed patriarchy against the oppression of women by men. Lilith's evil side by some of the patrons of feminism is slowly removed and her desire for independence and autonomy is magnified. She is also considered the first feminist. What is incubus? Incubus is a demonic figure who incarnates in the form of a man. According to several myths and legends, they are having sexual relations with women from the human race. Meanwhile, those who incarnate in the female form are called succubus. The sexual intercourse that succubus does with humans is aimed at getting offspring. People at that time used this story to explain the phenomenon of wet dreams. Incubus was originally told to come from Mesopotamia around 2410 AD. This type of demon was formerly known as a storm demon, but was eventually considered a night demon, as it often appeared at night. There are many versions of incubus to be found all over the world. The incubus zipker design is called popobawa, which is known to attack men and likes to hide behind closed doors. Do you know who was the first pioneer of feminism in the world who thought that men and women were equal? In this context, we will briefly describe Adam's first wife, Lilith, the world's first feminist. Lilith is the goddess of darkness, has existed in the world for almost 4,000 years and is one of the oldest goddesses in the world, also known as the devil of the night. There are many theories about Lilith's origins. If you want to dig into the records of Lilith, you have to look in Babylonian or Babylonian legend, Sumerian, Jewish, or Greek, not biblical. Among the many stories about Lilith's origins, the most popular is nothing more than the story of her being Adam's first wife. Legend has it that God created the first pair of man and woman from the ground in his form, namely Adam and Lilith. Adam is a man, Jovi, the smooth attitude of male superiority or the right of men to rule over women. Adam assumes that God first created him from the ground, so expects Lilith to obey him. Meanwhile, Lilith, who holds a feminist view, thinks that she and Adam are both created by God from the ground and are equal. It is said that Lilith, who was created equal to Adam, often refuses to have sex with her. Position below. He often protested related to sexual relations with positions that he considered degrading. He wants to be equal in bodily matters. I will not lie under you, but only above. Because you are only fit to be at the bottom, while I become the superior. Adam said. Lilith replied, we are like each other because we are both created from the ground. Adam, who felt opposed, did not stay silent. Through a trick he managed to get Lilith under and even pregnant. An enraged Lilith laughed at Adam's rudeness and arrogance. Lilith scorned Adam and seemed to be muttering God's secret name. Then leave the Garden of Eden and live in the Red Sea. In Western religious culture, it is said that every angel has his secret number. If he knows his secret name, he can make the angel serve him. Therefore, in the 10 Commandments of God to Moses, it is stated that the name of God should not be mentioned. After leaving Adam and God, Lilith was like a wild horse that went out of control and wandered between heaven and earth until it stopped at the Red Sea. Because Lilith had experienced male and female sexual intercourse, so she didn't hesitate to share her body and have sex with demon beasts and even fallen angels. On her way to the Red Sea, such relentless intercourse made Lilith give birth to a large number of demon children at a rate of 100 children per day. Many had sex with Lilith, among them the most famous was Samael. In Jewish demonology, Samael is the leader of the demons who lead the rebellion in heaven. Samael is not recorded in the Bible. But according to the Old Testament and Jewish mysticism, he was once the right hand of God. At the beginning of the creation of man by God, where because Samael had the greatest contribution, he was empowered by God to control human life and death. Therefore Samael is also called the angel of death. We all know Adam disappointed God because he couldn't resist the devil's temptation by eating the forbidden fruit, and the devil, who appeared in the form of a snake, was most likely this Samael. The legends of these two have a lot in common. So Samael is quite possibly a demon, the first angel to betray God. Lucifer was not the first angel to betray God, but Samael. Why revolt? Because God asked Samael to bow down to Adam and submit to him. But Samael was not happy. Why do I, an angel created from holy fire, have to kneel and worship a human figure made of the earth? Samael said in his heart. After that, Samael chose a completely different path from the angels until he met Lilith. After Lilith left the Garden of Eden, Adam complained to God. God doesn't want anything like that to happen again. So this time Adam's rib was used to create a human, which solved the equality problem. Thus was born the Eve we know. At the same time, Lilith also met Samael on the way to the Red Sea. Even though Lilith was the wife of the fallen angel Samael, But she continued to have sex with the creatures around her and gave birth to a devil child at an incredible speed. Legend has it that Lilith continued to bear children not out of love, but because she liked children. Lilith continued to give birth to her offspring to ensure the legitimacy of her existence and her anger towards Adam and God, also hiding her glory as a woman should be. He began to slaughter the descendants of Adam and vowed to make the whole land as his. Descendants are not creators of Adam and humans according to God's will. When Lilith slaughtered Adam's descendants, Adam could only cry and continue to pray to God to stop the killing. Lilith's murderous brutality made Adam restless every night. He didn't expect his ex-wife to be such a vicious demoness. God finally responded to Adam's request. He sent 3 angels to the Red Sea to stop Lilith, who continued to slaughter Adam's descendants, and asked him to return. If not, then 100 of her descendants would die every day. 100. This was the child that Lilith could give birth to in one day. The angels found Lilith in the middle of the Red Sea. The angels didn't criticize Lilith, only asking her to come back with them and convey God's will. But unfortunately, Lilith refused to return with the angels and continued to kill Adam's descendants. Lilith's actions this time angered God, and when the angels started fighting Lilith after getting God's approval, they started slaughtering Lilith's descendants. Hundreds of lives every day end up in the hands of these 3 angels. Although everyone is equal before God, these creatures who are not recognized by God are not so lucky. Watched his children die and flood the whole mountain with blood. The cornered Lilith was forced to make a pact with an angel. Neither side should harm the other's descendants. Not long after the pact was made, God still seemed unable to forgive Lilith's betrayal. Until finally, under the pressure of the 3 angels, Lilith, who couldn't stand the torment, then jumped into the Red Sea, intending to end it all. Because Lilith was God's creation and was bestowed with the power of eternal life, it was Lilith who had no desire to live again but could not die after plunging into the Red Sea. So he continued to expand and sink over the sea like this. War in heaven. God first created the angels and then created humans from clay. But because God spoils mankind too much, placing humans higher than angels, so Lucifer and several other angels are not satisfied with humans who are inferior to God. Lucifer and the other angels then rebelled. Lucifer is an angel with the highest status in the kingdom of heaven and one of God's most powerful assistants. However, God suddenly asked the angels to not only obey his orders, but also submit to Adam. But because of his arrogance, he felt that he was higher in rank than Adam. He also refused to obey the orders of his Lord, so Lucifer was expelled from heaven. The denial of Lucifer was the origin of sin in the first place. After Lucifer was thrown out of heaven, his name became Satan. Satan is a hell demon who has very strong power, stronger than all the demons in hell. He also held a grudge against humans and decided to plunge humans into committing sins to go to hell. Angels' war ended 3 days later. All the rebel angels fell to hell because of Lucifer's defeat. Lucifer pulled Lilith from the Red Sea before falling into hell. Lilith lost her chance to approach God again. Lilith and Lucifer conquered all the demons in hell. And since then Lucifer became the king of hell. After that he created a new world with Lilith. When Lucifer opens the door to a new world, countless deaths, diseases, and demons begin to overwhelm the human world. And since then the confrontation between angels and demons has never stopped. Ever since she fell into hell, Lilith had to be with the devil forever. In medieval times people thought that Lilith's children were legendary incubi. In medieval times the monks considered Lilith and her children to be enemies of asceticism, as they would seduce men in their dreams and absorb their energy. But this was far less than a 10,000th of Lilith's ability. In fact, in the era when witch hunting was popular, witches considered Lilith to be a guardian deity. Because of his degenerate image in Christianity, people believed he discovered black magic. And so did he, the world's first wizard. Before Lilith left the Lord, she was called the mother of all the devil's children. After rebelling against God, he is depicted as a ghost of the night. It can be seen that under the power of God, anyone must submit to his orders. Although Lilith was not officially included in Christianity, her name has never been lost. In other classics, Lilith has also been the true devil and queen of the night for thousands of years. On